and I see some enemies. In fact, I think we'd be fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that there were some enemies present. This afternoon, we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. But before we get into it, since this is the year of the ballot or the bullet.
In addition, I will immediately call on and direct Chief of Equity Carolyn Crockett and a cross-cabinet team of leaders to support the Boston Police Department in creating the Diversity and Inclusion Unit and uplifting their internal policies to ensure that they are all written through the lens of equity. Furthermore, this Monday I will be filing a home rule petition with the Boston City Council and ultimately at the state legislature to amend the civil service rules that govern police departments' hirings. This petition will establish a preference for graduates of the Boston Public Schools, Metco, or any schools in the Boston Compact, which include charter and parochial schools in our city. This step will build on the success of our police cadet program by developing a new pipeline for diverse Boston residents into law enforcement careers. I look forward to collaborating with the members of the Boston City Council and the state legislature on each of these issues, as well as with the leadership of the Boston Police Department. These are bold steps. They will mark a new era in Boston in police practices and community relations.
Any occupied territory is a police state, and this is what Harlem is. Harlem is a police state. The police in Harlem, their presence is like occupation forces, like an occupying army.
Briefly share it with you. The fact that they would bring up the Boston bombing today with everything going on, telling us that the bomber is suing over baseball cap and showers in prison, and they choose this footage to show you. Do you understand? When this drill occurred, and believe you me, it was a huge drill, they closed down Boston 100%, man, and they were pulling people off the streets for no reason. It was ridiculous. Remember Boston Strong? Man, that just drove me nuts for years. I'm just saying. Anyway, I find it incredibly interesting that they put this up today and choose this footage, and they put it up at 613. The 613 mitzvot, the laws for the Jews. We, the heathen, will receive the 7 Noahide laws, and this is one way that they will enforce it. And I truly do believe that we are heading in this direction, what you see right in front of you, very soon.
Good morning. Today, with the invocation of the Powers Act by the President, I am declaring a state of martial law in this city. There's historically nothing more corrosive to the morale of a population than policing its own citizens. But the enemy would be sadly mistaken if they were to doubt our resolve. Thank you for your time.
In all seriousness, this is getting utterly ridiculous. The mask situation, all of it, you know, I don't have anything else to say really about this shit, about the current predicament we're in, because, you know, if people in mass, and I mean in mass, I don't mean like a couple thousand, I mean like a couple 100,000, 1 million, don't stop holding these people accountable and bringing them the pain, then we're just going to continue to suffer, be miserable, and inflict our mental health problems on others. And that's exactly what this is doing. You know, this little, whatever they want to call it, coronavirus, COVID-19, you know, whatever, I just, knowing what I know, you have no clue. You don't want to know. No one wants to know. No one cares. Everybody's ignorant to it. I put out a video the other day. I got like 50 fucking views. Like, nobody cares, you know. There's more videos to come because it's a 5-part series, like I said. But it's the order followers of this world that are going to drag us down and enslave us. because the government, they just use pens. They just use the stroke of a pen, and they have their order followers that enforce the rules. And that's how that happens. You know, it's like the caste system. But if you think I'm wrong, let me know. But I know I'm not wrong. And if people thought 2020 was bad, just wait for 2021. Oh, it's gonna be nice and delicious. More of our freedoms and, you know, basic civil liberties are gonna be fucking eroded. They're gonna be kicked into the death pool by Leonidas.
Already at this level, after working these details for the last 6 months, as I've told the team, 2 things we must have. One, upon emergency use authorization, all of America must receive vaccine within 24 hours, as I said. I think this is incredibly important. Fair and equitable distribution of the vaccine throughout the country simultaneously. There is no haves and have-nots. It is an equitable distribution, and we are driving hard to make sure that that happens. The second thing that we want to do is make sure that the cadence of vaccine delivery following the first push is routine so that states/jurisdictions can plan for it and account and develop execution of the administration in a routine.
Theater operations. We run through all types of scenarios, whether it be inmate trying to escape during, let's say, a rec call where they're out in the yard getting their exercise. Or whether someone's just misbehaving in a communal cell or a segregated cell. Situations where we might be taking indirect fire. So not only are we detaining these prisoners, we also have to keep their safety and well-being in mind. So we have to make sure that we're protecting them at all costs.
Get inside! Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go! Light him up! Go inside now! Get in the house!
Get in.
This is kind of funny, but
I've got a number of questions about people refuse. You know, what do we do if someone refuses to be tested? Well, they can't now. If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer.
Here she is in Parliament this week, proudly displaying her own ignorance.
One Nation put up a motion criticising the World Economic Forum for putting out some obscure proposal I'd never heard of. Some weird thing nobody outside the darkest corner of Sky News After Dark programming has ever heard about.
Well, Jackie, allow me to enlighten you. I'm sorry that the taxpayers of Tasmania pay you over $200,000 a year to stay spectacularly uninformed, but there you have it. First up, although, I am delighted to appear on Sky News After Dark and even to appear on the darkest corners of Sky News After Dark. I have been talking about the Great Reset for the last couple of months here on...
as the true engine of our economy.
The current global crisis has disrupted every aspect of our lives, but it has also presented us with an extraordinary opportunity, a chance to reset and accelerate efforts to improve the state of our world.
Changing our current trajectory will require bold and imaginative action, together with determination and decisive leadership. In order to secure our future and to prosper, we need to evolve our economic model, putting people and planet at the heart of global value creation. If there is one critical lesson we have to learn from this crisis, we need to put nature at the heart of how we operate. We are on the verge of catalytic breakthroughs that will alter our view of what is possible and profitable within the framework of a sustainable future. We need nothing short of a paradigm shift, one that inspires action at revolutionary levels and pace. We simply cannot waste any more time. The only limit is our willingness to act.
We do not want to do just patchwork on our old system. It's not enough to change a few policies to address short-term issues. What we need is a change of mindsets. It came out in the discussion of business models, of lifestyles, in order to achieve a more cohesive, more collaborative, more resilient world.
Already closed. The permit has been suspended. However, your refusal to close warrants a...
Because what am I going to do if I close? Are you going to pay my rent?
No. All we need
Okay, so if you're not going to pay my rent, I'm going to close it.
We need to reopen.
If you're not going to pay my... I told you already.
We could have reopened today. We could be open right now.
However... You issue me a citation and said, tell me I can open.
Yeah, well, we've missed those steps. The steps that you need to take to make sure that you can open your business. You could have... You could have reopened already.
How?
The steps are listed in the report that was...
Which I did. I called the guy. The guy I spoke to on the phone was a supervisor. Because he made a mistake, that was on me. He made a mistake. I recorded on my phone what he said. Yes, he did. He told me if I put it in writing to him on an email that I will follow.
BBC's own website. This is what we'll do to our offices and homes. You know, see, a lot of people are talking about the post-future. There is no post-future, folks. It says here, one day it will subside. It could be eradicated. But even then, life will not simply return to the way it was before. Spurred on by the crisis, architects have been rethinking the buildings we inhabit. Okay, so you scroll down here. Meet Layla. Layla is of indeterminate race and age. It's 2025 and she works from home 4 days a week. It's been that way since the 2020 lockdown. Okay, they've been in lockdown since 2020 and it is now 2025. 6:30, she's on her way to work. Layla arrives at a building where she meets people, blah, blah, blah. Starting times of the company where she works are staggered to minimize the number of people arriving at the same time. No human contact. Her office days are mainly for meetings, gone are the days when she's head to work, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. On the ground floor, Layla pauses in front of a thermal body scanner to check her temperature is normal. Today she is 36.5. She passes. A camera used for facial recognition identifies her as a staff member. A security barrier opens. At no point does she touch anything. Layla is on a contactless pathway. The lift to her office on the 4th floor is voice activated. Touchless technology has replaced grubby buttons. The maximum occupancy is 2. Voice acted elevators, folks. If you get locked out through social crediting, once it's all biometric and it's all run like this and it's all touchless, they know everything about you and everything you do and everything you say and everything you think. If you get locked out of the system due to being down on social credit points, your elevator won't even work in your building because it will be voice activated and your voice will be recognised by the elevator as one who does not have access. Soon you'll have voice activated doorways. The smart locks they want to put on your home, soon these will not be digital keypads. Soon these will be biometric, they will be voice activated. And if you're down on credit points, they simply won't open for you. On the 4th floor, she walks down the corridor through the door. Both are wider than before to keep staff further apart and reduce the chances of being transmitted. Of course, that's what they say. No, it's just to keep you further apart. At the door, Layla uses a hand sanitizer. She's so used to it now that she doesn't even think about it. Sits down at her desk. Much of the furniture, as well as the walls, panels and facades, is made from antimicrobial material. It's easier to clean and harder for bacteria to stick to. Makes a coffee in the kitchen where the worktops are also antimicrobial. The handles of the drawers and cupboards are made of copper. It's costly, but a naturally microbe repellent material. The air conditioning uses UV light to kill pathogens. It also reduces the humidity to help prevent germs multiplying, responding to a stream of data from sensors fixed around the building and wearable sensors used by the staff. Proximity meters, folks. Great stuff. Office is completely plain, blah, blah, blah. A whole bunch of propaganda here to let you know how she did with coping with it all. How she's only going to office once a week. Layla moved to the suburbs with a friend after the lockdown in 2020. When the lockdown came, she thought working from home would only last a few weeks and that she'd manage with a laptop on the kitchen table. But when weeks turned into months and months turned into years, she knew she would need a home office. When weeks turned into months and months turned into years. What do you think of your new normal, folks? And you think about it, folks, with voice-activated technology, voice-activated door locks and a social crediting system, they've managed to turn the entire world into a prison, every house into a prison cell that you're only allowed to leave when you're on your best behaviour. You're only allowed to leave when you're behaving the way the government says you must behave. No more freedom, folks. None of that. The entire world is now a prison and every house is now a prison cell. Great plan. Great plan. And the problem is that it is actually working, and it will work if people don't wake up to what is happening. I mean, this is really serious stuff. This is where they want to go with everything, folks. Total isolation, you working from home, no contact with anybody else, totally contactless work, no touching anything, no touching other people. It's been quite a change for Layla and millions like her.
101 people have lost their lives to COVID-19. I don't know why I bring all these papers. I never look at them.
Well, when you're giving numbers, I go, oh. I said that. Did you really do that?
I just say whatever they write down for me.
That's why.
I own myself. The same is true of every other person on the planet. You don't own me. Your politician masters don't own me. I have no obligation to obey the arbitrary garbage that they call law. And I have no obligation to put up with it when you unthinkingly come to be a thug to force the politician's will on me. Now, you probably got that badge and joined up, I don't care what level or what agency, thinking that you would be a force for law and order. And for that, I commend you. You thought you were doing the right thing. Turns out you were wrong. You're not the good guy. Your hat, your badge, your title, the law books, they don't make you the good guy. Because morality doesn't change just because politicians scribble something on paper. So Mr. and Mrs. DEA agent, IRS, ATF, CIA, DHS, TSA, the rest of them, you are the bad guys. And the future is going to look back, the people of the future are going to look back now, and they will recognize you as the bad guys. Just as we look back at Nazi Germany and everybody says, how on earth could those people have just followed those orders? The future is going to look back at you, Mr. and Mrs. Federal or state cop, and say, why on earth did they keep doing these things to innocent people just because they were told to?